All right, Monday Night Football is in the wraps, and the Dolphins, they got their first win of the season, and no surprise there. You got to play against the Jets. Rivalry nights, wearing their new rivalry kit that I was talking about earlier this year. The black uniforms with the aqua numbers like this, and the orange. Looking at it on TV. Actually looks fire. It actually kind of looks fire. And no, I don't have the jersey. As I'm wearing this jersey for obvious reasons. But yeah, the Dolphins win 27-21 over the New York Jets. And Miami beating the New York teams this weekend just absolutely continues. And you know what? I'm just going to put it back like this. And just, Anyway, eventually I'm going to talk about the Marlins. Hopefully tonight or tomorrow. I did say, I know I said yes, I'm going to talk about it today, but I had things going on, and it kind of slipped off my mind, if I'm being honest here. But yeah, Dolphins win 27-21 over the New York Jets. Tua did not have a bad game. I thought he was pretty good. You have to take advantage of a pretty bad team like the Jets, which. In all fairness with the Jets, I believe they're just going through a transition year. They're going through a transition year, and I say this with a lot of things, but this is a different football team altogether. This is a special kind of bad team for the Jets, and they've been bad for so long. It's kind of like the Marlins treatment, right? The Marlins have been bad for so long, but now that with the Marlins, right, and conveniently the Dolphins win after the Marlins season's over. I guess they don't want to jump into the spotlight while the Marlins are actually doing something. The Marlins have a bright future. Okay, the Marlins have a direction. They have a plan. The Jets are supposed to have a plan, but they don't have a plan. It's just the same thing over and over. And teams like the Dolphins, they should absolutely capitalize on it. And they're on a 10-game winning streak at home in Miami, dating all the way back to 2016. Remember that 10-point comeback? Started off with the kickoff return for a touchdown, and I believe Jay Ajayi was part of that team. That started that win streak at home. We had a couple of shutouts at home against the Jets, 2020 and 2023. And we had that overtime winner drive from John Smith last year, beating Joe Flacco. Yes, Joe Flacco was part of the Jets team. Remember the season where we were at 0-7 against the Jets, and we still won that game, getting our first win? And then Brock Osweiler. Yeah, okay, I think I made my points. All that said, 10-game winning streak at home in Miami against the Jets. This is a situation where the Dolphins cannot do, or is doing right now in Buffalo. That's the situation the Jets are going through in Miami. Had some really good drives. The Dolphins had good drives. They did not turn the ball over once. Not one turnover. They did fumble. They did fumble the football, but they did manage to get it back. Some of the things here, the 10-play drive started off and ends up in a field goal. But we're seeing a debut of our tight ends who coming off of retirement in replacement of John Smith, and this is Darren Waller. And I was complaining about it. I'm not going to lie to you. I was complaining about it. I don't think I even made a video about it. I was complaining about Darren Waller, how I don't think it's going to be that much of a factor with the age and things like that, coming off of retirement. Well, even though this is against a Jets team, Darren Waller was actually very good. He was very impressive tonight. Got a 14-yard pass from Tua, which is pretty cool. Tyreek Hill, and we'll talk about Tyreek Hill in a few minutes. He got an 8-yard pass within this drive, but in the end, they had to settle for a field goal. Patterson gets a 47-yarder in. 3-0 Dolphins right there. The Jets went on a long drive as well. They have a 7-minute and 51-second drive. Starts off with a penalty from the kickoff, and excuse me, I'm tired. Jets with a lot of penalties. They're hurting themselves with a lot of penalties, and also too, granted. And I'm gonna bring up the Eagles game from a couple of years ago, because I'm gonna remain consistently with my argument that even if the Dolphins had the similar situation, I would not be happy, because I want the game to be called fairly. There were times where the Dolphins absolutely should have been flagged, but they were not flagged for it. Those are a little bit of a head scratches for me, and this is me saying this as a Dolphins fan. But a lot of penalties I agree with. And also with some of the penalties that I don't agree with. And then there were some missed calls, wild missed calls. And then there was one where the Dolphins had a drive in the first. One of those was an incomplete pass. Our receiver was held. He was definitely held and was interfered. No penalty at all, right? That was a ridiculous no call. That was against the Dolphins. I should be pissed off about that. And that was the first drive of the game. Now, all right, back to this drive. Jets had a drive. Justin Fields is their quarterback. Breece Hall is their running back, and Breece Hall is really good. He's a really good running back. He's been running the football. Justin Fields, a fast quarterback. In fact, we have played against Justin Fields a couple of years back. He was with the Chicago Bears, if you remember that game. That classic game up at Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. It was a 38-34 game, I believe. It was around that score. It was around that score line. It was a great game, absolutely great game. Frustrating defensive game, to say the least. The only player that really stand out to me in that game was Andrew Van Ginkel, and I still can't believe the Dolphins let him go. Thanks, Greer. Anyway, they're running the football. Breece Hall's running the football, 15 yards, absolutely destroying. At that point, just beating up the pass rush, and then Justin Fields scrambled. They're not passing the ball as much as they should, but they got the legs to run. That's the thing with the Jets. And a couple of penalties, but they were close to the touchdown line. Breece Hall had the football. He was going up the middle. However, Jones and Davis punched the football out of Breece Hall, fumbles it, recovered by Mika Fitzpatrick. First turnover of the year for the Dolphins. At least that's I think. We got the football from the Jets. This is a similar case from the Jacksonville Jaguars game last year. I believe it was ETN, right? ETN was running up the middle, and we punched the football out, recovered the football, and we scored a touchdown. In this case, the Dolphins did score a touchdown after committing a turnover, which is incredible. But unlike the Jaguars, and I'm comparing older games, I don't mean to, but unlike the Jaguars, where it took one play, this drive took 15 plays from their own 4, which includes passing the football to Tyreek Hill, which was standard pass, which is pretty good. Then you have 10-yard. Then you got some penalties against the Dolphins. There was an offensive hold that just pushed them back. 11-yard pass to Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill was involved with this one. That carries over to the second quarter, and we have a 28-yard pass to Tyreek Hill, which is awesome. There is something like that. This was a bad snap. That Tua fumbled, but it was recovered by Ollie Gordon, thankfully. So the drive continues. A short pass to Malik Washington, 4 yards. 3rd and 10. A 25-yard pass to Jalen Waddle, completely left wide open. This is what the Dolphins should look like. Absolutely, this should be the Dolphins each week like this, and we could be good. You build around a quarterback with the protective O-line, and you have a dangerous team, which is what we're begging for so long, and I still can't believe we're not getting it done. Anyway, we get the first down at the Jets 21. We have an 8-yard rush from Malik Washington. 7-yard rush after that for Ollie Gordon this time. Ollie, and we have a good running game too. I don't know why we're going to need to change that. Achane goes up for 2 yards. It was an incomplete pass for Waddle, and then we have a 4-yard pass to Darren Waller. That pass was thrown right through the traffic and defenders, but Darren Waller was right there, caught the football for a touchdown. His first catch, his first touchdown catch in a couple of years. Coming to retirement, touchdown Dolphins. Incredible stuff. Awesome, awesome, and awesome. By the way, all PATs are good in this game. We don't have to talk. We don't have to say anything about missing and anything like that. All right. Jets drive. Breece Hall goes up for 23 yards. Not a good start. 4-yard rush for Breece Hall again. Justin Fields then gets sacked for 2 yards. This is Rashel Douglas. This is Douglas now, who been absolutely terrific. 8-yard pass to Taylor, which I think that's Jason Taylor's son, right? Mason Taylor, I believe that's his name. He is a son of Jason Taylor, one of the coaches for the Miami Hurricanes, believe it or not. 4-yard penalty is a penalty on the Jets for illegal chef. Justin Fields scrambles for a yard. Another penalty, and this is against the Dolphins, okay? A neutral zone infraction. But it didn't matter because immediately after the neutral zone infraction against Zach Sealer, false starts was given up by Mason Taylor. Then there would be 8-yard pass to Garrett Wilson. 3rd and 5, incomplete. Another penalty. This is declined, and the Jets elected to go for it on 4th and 5. Justin Fields tried to scramble, but they fumbled the football. Fields fumbled the football. It was forced out by Dotson. Dotson then recovered the football. Actually, it was Jalen Phillips. Dotson forced the fumble out of Justin Fields, and Jalen Phillips recovered the football. And a second fumble for the Jets, and second turnover committed by the Dolphins. Loving this stuff. What I don't love is we didn't do anything after that. There was something that we did, but there was a penalty for a hold against the Dolphins, and then with that being said, Carter was injured during that play. I don't think he came back for the rest of the game, so I hope Carter is okay. 9-yard pass to Malik Washington for 9 yards, and we just punted the football. It was a 3-and-out. Then this next drive for the Jets, Breece Hall was of course heavily involved with this one. Then passing it to Alan Lazard, I think, 8 yards, and there would be incomplete pass. 11 yards to Garrett Wilson for 11 yards. Justin Fields then passed it to Davis. Penalty, and then at the end of the half, Nick Folk with a 58-yard field goal. I thought it was a 56-yard field goal, but it turns out to be a 58-yard field goal. I think Nick Folk was a Jet once, and then he ends up coming back. But he gets a 58-yard field goal in, and it's just what a kick. Even at his age, he still got it. It's incredible. It's incredible how kickers can just kick the football like that, man. But that's your halftime score, 10-3 Dolphins. Third quarter starts. And immediately, Williams with the football, going up for 30 yards. You won't believe this. Our special teams forced a fumble on the Jets, and it was recovered by Trader, our special teams player. They fumbled the football again. This is not the offense. This is the special teams. Forced a fumble against the Jets. And the Dolphins got the football immediately. They don't have to go on defense. They can just get the fumble now and go on offense, even despite not getting the football in the second half. Insanity. And the Dolphins took advantage of it, and what an awesome, and this was amazing. This was absolutely amazing to take advantage of it. However, this drive was horrible. This was a horrible drive. Yes, we scored a touchdown on this drive. Let's get this out of the way right now. On a 3rd and 8, pass was completed to Tyreek Hill, goes out of bounds for 10 yards. And I think Moore's weight ends up being on the leg of Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill's leg absolutely snapped. It snapped. It bent the wrong way that it shouldn't go, and that is oh my God, an absolutely horrific injury. It is a horrific injury for Tyreek Hill, and oh my God, that looked gruesome. That looked gruesome. I'm speechless. Needless to say, Tyreek Hill would not come back because there's no way you're going to play with his leg's broken. That is a broken leg. I think he tear everything. ACL, MCL, broken leg. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I do know what happened. We saw it. We saw it. It looked awful. Don't watch it. It's very gruesome. That injury looked awful. It's a horrific injury for Tyreek Hill. Boy, do I feel his pain. I will never understand the severity of injury because I never went through it. But he's got to go through it, and it sucks. Now he was clapping, he was screaming yeah and everything like that. I don't know if it's because personal reasons, the fact that he doesn't have to play with Tua anymore. I don't know what that is. I'm making a joke, obviously. I'm trying to lighten up the mood in this bad situation, but or is this he's cheering because he has an out? We have really one of the good fan bases that could really rely on the player to get through this injury as soon as possible. That is the support that we need as a Dolphins fans to come together for the tough time that Tyreek Hill is about to go through. So I'm hoping for Tyreek Hill is a speed recovery. I hope it's really not as serious as it looks, but boy, that does not look good. It does not look good at all, and I hope for the best for Tyreek Hill to get through this with no problems at all. But I think he's done. I think he's done for the year because that just looked brutal, man. But they after the whole situation, and yes, he was carted off, unfortunately. After the injury, Dolphins went in for a drive. Achane was amazing, and then Darren Waller gets a 9-yard pass to get the Dolphins up by 2 possessions. It is now 17-3. Jets drive next. It's a 4-play drive, and they just could not get Justin Fields down. It was supposed to be a 3-and-out, and I was hoping for a 4-and-out, but Justin Fields scrambles out, avoiding tackles, and I don't know how this defense did not get him down. But he ends up scoring a touchdown for 43 yards. Insanity. That's just insanity to me. The Dolphins would respond with the drive. And these penalties from the Jets are not helping themselves. They got pass interference, which was blatantly obvious. Then there's a 16-yard pass to Waddle. Now we have to do the 2021 type of thing. Remember that year? A couple of 1-yard passes. Tua that scrambled up for 5 yards. Boy, I was so nervous with that hit because he got right there by the helmet area. Normally, when that happens to Tua, that's it. He gets concussed. Not this time though. This was an unnecessary roughness. This is after the play was over. This is Francis Magua. The U. What was that for? He gets caught for unnecessary roughness. That adds up to 15 yards. This is the same player that played for the U. What was that for? That was very stupid. Hold on, let me readjust this real quick. There we go. But yeah, that was very stupid. Very, very stupid penalty. Thank God Tua was okay, because that could have been much worse than it looked. Ollie going for 4 yards. 2nd and 6. Tua's passing for 7 yards. That gives him the first. And then a touchdown run for Achane. You knew he was going to go in. Achane goes in for the score to make this a 24-10 game for the Miami Dolphins, which is awesome. It took 4 plays, but we managed to get the Jets to punt the football. We didn't help ourselves though, so it's a 3-and-out. with the penalty against the Jets, but it really didn't matter. Then the Jets drive. It starts off with the 18-yard pass to Garrett Wilson. 18-yard pass, and the next pass literally is another one from Mason Taylor for 27 yards. Boy, what is that defense? Wilson gets a touchdown pass. However, he pushed off the defender. That's an offensive pass interference, and that is the right call. You cannot push off to create separation, even if it looks like you're out of bounds. That ends the third quarter, and another 15-yard penalties to the Jets. This is an unnecessary roughness. This is after the play. So that backs them up to 2nd and 28. Needless to say, they didn't score a touchdown. Nick Folk hits a 50-yard field goal, and yeah, he makes that one. It became a 24-13 game. Dolphins with a 3-and-out, which is not fun. And we were very close. We were close to getting the first down, which they should have gotten the first down, but they did not. Then the next drive. The Dolphins defense held up after giving up a couple of big plays. Okay, the 9-yard pass wasn't really a big play, but 9-yard pass to Mason Taylor. The 17-yard one was a big play. They gave up 17 yards from Breece Hall. They just shook off the tackles from close to their own 3. What could have been a safety ends up not being the case. 10-yard pass then now to Mason Taylor. And then penalties is hurting the Jets. We accepted this penalty. It was an offensive holding call after giving up the third. But we forced them to punt anyway, so it doesn't matter. Next drive. This is the Dolphins field goal drive. This is a 13-yard rush from Achane, which is awesome, and even better, Achane goes up for 21 yards, which is awesome. And then Achane fumbles the football. Thankfully, Williams recovered it for the Dolphins. Actually, no. Quentin Williams was the one that forced the fumble. It was recovered by Patrick Paul. There we go. I got the names mixed up. But then after that, Tua made them pay. 19-yard pass to Julian Hill, the second tight end, to get the first down, which was awesome. Achane goes up for nothing. Couple of timeouts then starts to be used for the Jets defense because the Dolphins would not get the first down after that. So you have to kick a field goal to, get yourself a little bit more comfortable, in the more comfortable range. So it becomes a 27-13 game. 27-13 at this point. The Jets drive is a touchdown drive. Starts off with the pass to Breece Hall. Now, Jets are playing with urgency. They got nothing to lose at this point. So it makes some big passes. Passing it to Davis for 14 yards. A 12-yard pass to Ruckert for 12 yards. That goes to 2-minute warning. Incomplete for Reynolds. That could have been picked. At least one of those passes could have been picked off, if I'm being straight with you. And then 23-yard pass, touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson. Dude, I mean, as much as Jets have a pretty bad team, Garrett Wilson might be one of the best receivers in the league. He might be close with the discussion with Justin Jefferson. Because Garrett Wilson made that crazy freaking catch, seemingly hugging the defender while trying to catch the football and remaining inbounds too. How do you guard that? Seriously, how do you guard Garrett Wilson? He is just unbelievable, bro. Unbelievable. I wish he was part of the Dolphins team because they could really benefit off of this. But Garrett Wilson, man, he's unbelievable. I don't know how he got that football. They went for 2, and Justin Fields very easily walks right in for a 2-point conversion. So it becomes a 27-21 game. So they have to do an onside kick, and Darren Willer, I love this ESPN thing. Parentheses didn't try to advance. That's funny. No, all you have to do is catch the football from onside kick. Darren Waller did that. You seemingly end the game. You seemingly wrap up the game. But make no mistake. Remember that 2 years ago with the Tennessee Titans. That's what I was like. That was my mindset right now. Do it, and do it discreetly. Run the football, milk down the clock, because the Jets are going to use their final timeout. So they used the final timeout on the first run, and the clock stopped at 13 seconds. Right? I thought it was 12 seconds. They put it back up a second. Then they punted the football. All you need is a punt, and what we really need is to have a defensive stop, right? That was our mindset. But nobody's appreciating Jake Bailey like I'm about to right now. Bailey punts for 44 yards. It's not the punt itself. It's the way how he kicked the football to have the motion to stay in bounds, especially on the 2-yard line. How, though? How could he even do that is beyond me. But the ball was spotted. Listen to this. The ball bounced at the 1, goes to the 2, then rolls back to the 1 while the Dolphins special teams stop it. How does Jake Bailey do it? That is a great kick. And in that moment, I'm like, wow. That is an amazing kick. You gotta appreciate Jake Bailey, man, because what a kick. And I'm very comfortable that the Dolphins were going to win this one. I was very comfortable at that point. Justin Fields with one last play. They pass it to Garrett Wilson, and they do some lateral passes. They do some lateral passes for Rutgers and other players, and they did a forward pass. That's illegal, and the game ends. The final score is 27-21. The Dolphins win it, and I'm happy for it. I'm happy that we got the win. Win is a win. But the team like the Jets, you have to capitalize on the situation, on the game like this. On the game like this, where you have to win, where you should be able to beat. They did that here against the Jets on Monday Night Football. And thankfully, we're not going to go 0-4. But my point still remains. Our defense did exceptionally well. We have 1 sack the whole game. It should be 2, but Rasul Douglas was the only sack. Had the only sack of the whole game, which is awesome. Hopefully Tyreek Hill gets through this. That looked like a gruesome injury. I hope we get good news. I hope it's not what it looks. And that's all I could say, man. That's really all I could say. Wishing Tyreek Hill a speedy recovery. All that type of things. All right, man. I think that's it for this one. There was one instance where I think the Jets tight end was down in the play, and then the hit after, and no call. That's what I was saying. I was saying with the Eagles, saying like, if this happened to the Dolphins, right, I still will not be happy. I want to win where we're not going to be helped by the officials, but we didn't really get much help from the officials. The Jets did that to themselves, if I'm being honest here. All right, next game is against the Carolina Panthers in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Panthers coming off with a absolutely dominant win against the Atlanta Falcons. That was week 3. But this is a piss poor performance from the Carolina Panthers, losing to the Patriots 42-13. Now they're coming off with that loss, but they shut out the Falcons a couple of weeks back. About to be a couple of weeks back. We have them next at Charlotte, North Carolina. Both teams are coming off with a 1-3 record. I think we're about to see, I believe, Bryce Young again. Bryce Young versus Tua. Hubbard, the running back, and McMillan, their top receiver. We're going to see those guys go head-to-head. That's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina. Our friends are going to be there for that one, which is nice. I wish I was there to join them for North Carolina. And then following that is the LA Chargers. That game I might go to. But we'll see what happens with these weeks, man. It's gonna be interesting. Could they capitalize off all this? We're about to find out as we got a stretch where we have a pretty solid stretch coming up, and I hope that they take advantage of this because boy, we need to get back to get back within the playoff range. But it's going to be a lot of work from this point forward. But anyway, that's going to do it for this one. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for content, because Miami TVG has back. And when he does, he'll be right there with the free entertainment you deserve. This is Miami TVG signing out, folks. Good night, folks.